Hey, what's going on, everybody? What's going on? I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. Welcome to drboystv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. Today, I want to talk a little bit about something weird that just happened involving comedian D.L. Hughley. Apparently, he was very upset with me, and I think it has to do with the usual suspect. It has to do with these elections. And I'm going to kind of dissect some of this in a way that is hopefully not going to be silly and immature, but where we could actually learn something. So get comfortable, buckle up a seatbelt, hit that thumbs up button. We're going to get started on drboystv.com right now.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones too late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is bliss, but we can turn it to intelligence. Please, none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to drboystv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. I'm here reporting to you from Amsterdam. Today I am here, and this is we've been on a world tour, man. For the last 10 days, we've been running all throughout Europe. Next week we'll be in Egypt, actually. We're doing a group trip to Egypt. I would invite you guys, but unfortunately the trip sold out pretty quickly. So we're going to do another one soon. We're going to go to South Africa, and I'll let you guys know when that's announced. Now, before I move on, could y'all do me a favor? How you doing, Tara and Kieran and Riley? Can y'all give me a quick yes in the chat to let me know you can hear me? Let me know if my audio is coming through okay. I can't do video because, you know how it is when you're in a hotel and the Wi-Fi is weird and all that, and the lighting's all jacked up. So I don't have good lighting, don't have good Wi-Fi. So I just want to make sure you guys can hear me. It's more important for you to hear me than to see me, because it ain't like I'm some really good looking man or anything. Like, so your eyes won't be distracted by looking at, something amazing and handsome and beautiful or whatever. You'll be hearing actually ideas, and I'm hoping we can deliver substance instead of all the flash. Okay, so thank you very much. And I see Mr. Keith Patillo's in there, man. I respect the Patillo family a lot. I talk about you all the time because you are the Black American dream. I know that nobody's perfect, but I know your children are doing well. You're doing well, and I just really want everybody to pay attention to families like that. We got families in our community that are doing great, and I really think that these should be the Black leaders. That's my Black leadership. And so anyway, Raquel Page, I see you, and Cynthia Alexander, and Shanza, Chairman of the Poor. Good to see you, Gregory G. Thank you guys for hanging out with me. All right, so let's jump into the topic for today. This is, and I promise you, I don't want this to be a goofball conversation. I really don't. I don't want this to be, we got a lot of these 45, 50-year-old teenagers in the Black community, guys that get online and start beefing and yelling back and forth and all that. I'm not trying to participate in none of that, but I do want to kind of talk about something involving comedian D.L. Hughley. Now, D.L. Hughley is he's a great professional at what he does. He's very seasoned at what he does. I have a lot of respect for him. I think that he is a guy who is among the best in terms of experienced comedians. And I went to a show in Vegas not long ago, and we have a mutual friend, Willie D. Willie D was in my wedding, and apparently DL and Willie are good friends. And so I hope Willie does not feel awkward with all this happening. But I have to talk about it. I have to talk about it because it really relates to a bigger issue. And I'm going to drill into that a little bit. So if you don't know the backstory, give me a yes if you saw any of the backstory. If you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen it. I shared this surprising message I got from DL where he was really, really, really angry with me. And I'll tell you, I'll give you all the whole story in terms of how it went down. And I promise you it has a bigger point. It's bigger than me. It's bigger than him. It's really about us and how we as a community are kind of taking these elections too seriously sometimes, getting into this crazy Crips and Bloods type stuff. So let me just start here. And normally I'm not a guy that would share like personal DMs, but I don't know that I just feel like it's necessary for this situation because I think that it makes a bigger point. So I got this message from my brother, Terrain. I don't have his last name. I think it's Terrain Walker. Terrain Walker, very smart Black man. And he literally just asked me, he says, He says something like, "Why is DL crashing out on you over that decrepit old man?" And I said, and then you can see my response, which is in blue. And I said, "He's crashing out on me? I didn't see that." And so Terrain, being the researcher that he is, he's a super smart guy. You should follow him on Twitter. If you like to follow smart black people and black people that really get it, I would follow Terrain. He's one of those guys. I hope I can bring him in here one day. And so he takes a screenshot of this stuff that DL was saying, and it says, "I never liked you and have." Yeah, I think he said, "I have no idea." I'm gonna fill in the blanks because I don't know if he was tweeting while drunk or what. I don't know what, because the grammar's all kind of fucked up. But anyway, he says, "I've never liked you and have no idea why you would bring your punk ass onto my page, clown." And at first I was like, well, maybe he's not talking to me. Maybe he's talking to somebody else, because I'm not that important. He's D.L. Hughley. You got, I only have I have about 190,000 Twitter followers. It's not bad, but he's got like 4 times that. He's got like 800,000, 700 and something. Why are why would he be replying to me? I didn't get it. And now I'm literally right now, I kid you not, literally while I'm talking to you, I'm looking at it. I'm like, oh, it says replying to Dr. Boyce Walking. Okay, now I know it's me. Okay, so that kills the ambiguity. And then there's the other part where he says, "Tell me, dickhead, what a senator from the state of Delaware had the power to do." So I think that what surprised me was not that we disagreed. What surprised me was the amount of anger and vitriol with which he brought the disagreement. I mean, the amount of emotional energy that he invested in this. I'm sitting there thinking, wow, I really struck a chord. Like, I'm from Kentucky. In the South, they have a saying that says that the hit dog always hollers. And I say, okay, you hollering today. And so when I think about the date of these posts, it's July 15th. I guess that's around the time all the stuff happened with Trump. And it was right after Biden pretty much showed that his brain ain't working no more, hardly, not the way it used to. And he's clearly on the decline. Give me a yes if you agree that Joe Biden just showed his ass that day in the debate. He really showed that he's too old to be doing this. He's not ready for prime time anymore. Give me a yes if you agree with that. I think most Democrats agree. I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican. I want to make that clear. I don't care who you're going to vote for in the next election. I believe, if you want to know what my opinion is you vote for whoever the hell you want to vote for. And you do what you want to do. And don't let nobody talk you out of it. Let nobody intimidate you. Don't let nobody pressure you. Don't let nobody tell you what to do. That's bullshit. That's nonsense. That's voter suppression. That's voter suppression. That's voter intimidation. If I get in your face and call you an asshole because you voted Democrat and I'm a Republican, that's wrong. If I yell at you and say, "You're a sellout, you're a coon, you're a clown, you're a dog," that's wrong. I should not do that. Well, why is that? Well, because we have this thing in this country, people talk about it, but they don't believe in it. They don't believe in it. It's called freedom. Freedom. Freedom means you do what the hell you want to do. You do what the hell you want to do. So anyway, so Biden, I guess, it's probably stressing DL out. I imagine he's probably mad because Biden, he knows the truth. He knows Biden is not qualified to be president of anything. Biden is not qualified to run a Burger King right now. That man will be fucking up the cheeseburgers. He's not qualified. He couldn't. If he ran a Wendy's, the Wendy's would burn down. He is not equipped. He used to be. I didn't like him. I didn't like his crime bill. He used to be, but he's not equipped anymore. So anyway, so DL, I guess, made these tweets at me. And I don't remember the comment I made to him, because I just made the comment and kind of kept it moving. But I believe that I don't know what the first one is. I never liked you and have no idea why you would come to bring your punk ass on my page, clown. That was strange to me. I was surprised. I was like, oh, you never liked me. Wow, I didn't even know you were thinking about me like that. But then also, I thought that I admit, I thought the word clown was kind of ironic, given that DL's a comedian. I mean, if you want to be technical about it, a clown will be a person who goes in front of people and makes them laugh and gets paid to do that. So I'm not saying he's a clown. I'm not saying DL's a clown. You can make that decision on your own. But I would say a comedian who gets paid to make people laugh is more of a clown than a scholar who is trying to make people think. You make people laugh, I make them think. And that's okay. That's all right. That's fine. But the thing about it is that sometimes the problem, though, that we have in this society, where we tend to kind of worship entertainers, and we kind of really believe entertainers know more than they actually know. We put them in positions that they're not qualified for. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like here's the deal. Do y'all ever remember? Anybody remember when DL made a brilliant appearance on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? Anybody remember that when he was on The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, and it was an episode where Will Smith thought that he was going to be a comedian. And he thought that it was easy because he was kind of funny. He was a funny guy. And he said, oh, I can be a comedian because it's easy. And DL, who did a brilliant job on the show, came in and pretty much showed Will Smith that everybody can't be a comedian. You can't just go up there unprepared and unprofessional, not knowing what you're doing. You're not going to do very well. Anybody remember that episode? Or am I just being an old man right now? Anybody remember that? Well, DL did a great job on that episode. And if you remember, the point of the episode was to say that sometimes you just ain't qualified for the job that you think you can do. That you might feel like you can do it, but you are disrespecting the people who spend time on their craft, who are good at what they do. So you step in and you think, oh, I can do that. I can be the next LeBron because I play basketball every weekend and I'm a whole 6'1". I could be the next LeBron James. I'm 6'1" and I play basketball every 5 days. So I can go lead the Lakers to a championship. You can't do that because you're disrespecting the craft. That's what DL did on that episode of The Fresh Prince, and he did it brilliantly. He reminded me of why he is a respected comedian, and I respect him immensely. But here's the deal. Here's what I want you to understand. That when you're talking about scholarly shit, when you're stepping into the space where my craft lives, that sometimes you end up looking a little ridiculous because you're basically doing in my space what Will Smith was trying to do in your space. Do you understand? Does anybody follow that analogy? That D.L. Hughley, and I understand, I get it. You have a lot of feelings. You're very passionate about what you believe, and I respect that. But at the end of the day, brother, you were trained to be a comic. You are not a scholar. You are not a political analyst. You're not. I'm not making fun. You are a funny man that white people put on TV. And the reality is that Black men like me don't get put on TV. Black men like Terrain Walker, who shared that post with me, they don't get put on TV. They don't want to hear from men like that. But Terrain Walker, I can tell you, is a man who spends every second of the day damn near thinking about Black issues on a deep level and studying these things. Do you understand? See, I need y'all to understand how much you lose as a community when all your scholars, all your thinkers, all your PhDs, all the people that got master's degrees and advanced degrees in political science, who have PhDs in economics and finance like I do, my PhD is in finance, who get ignored because they'll go take a financial question and take it to a comedian or a rapper or take it to a basketball player. What the fuck does playing for the Dallas Mavericks do to qualify you to talk about what the Black community needs economically? And then you wonder why the problem doesn't get solved. Then you wonder why nothing gets done. Then you wonder why nothing works. Well, it's for the same reason that if I tried to get on stage and do what DL does, if I tried to get on stage and be a brilliant comedian like him, ain't nobody gonna laugh. They won't laugh, or they won't be laughing with me. They would be laughing at me in a very bad way. They would laugh at me because I would get up there and think, oh, I can do what DL does. I can make everybody, I'm a funny guy. Hilk. And I would get up there and I would totally bomb. Well, why is that? Well, because that ain't my craft. So here's what I would say to DL, and I don't know if I'm ever going to talk to him. DL, if you listening, man, you can call me. You ain't got to be scared to call me, brother. We talked on the phone one time, maybe 10 years ago or something. I have no problem talking to you now, because I think this is stupid. This is silly. But at the same time, you got to know what your craft is. And here's the deal. And I think that part of the reason DL showed the frustration in the message he sent me is because I think the hit dog got the hollering dog got hit. That's what it was. He's upset, I believe, because Joe Biden is showing that his brain is halfway working, and Donald Trump got shot, and he suddenly become this great American hero for random reason. For some reason, people now love this guy. And again, I'm gonna tell you two things I don't understand about Trump is I don't understand, one, why people hate him so much, and then two, I don't understand why people love him so much. Those are two things I do not understand. I do not understand why they love him so much, and I don't understand why they hate him so much. I've always just seen Trump as an arrogant white guy who knows how to make money, and people looked up to him because he had money. And a lot of the same rappers who diss Trump because he's a a Republican and not a Democrat are the same people who would love him if he was a Democrat and not a Republican. And this is your problem, Black people. This is your issue. This is your issue. You've been psychologically colonized. Your issue is that you've been politically colonized. They have literally gotten you to the point where you will fight your own brother because your brother's a Democrat and you a Republican. You will fight your own sister because they didn't vote for Biden like you did. You'll stop talking to your own sibling and your own cousins and the people that have been down for you since the beginning over some white folks who don't give a damn about you. You really think Biden and Trump care about any of you in this room? How many of y'all really believe that Joe Biden goes to bed every night truly concerned about the Black community and Black families and Black people? How many of y'all really think that? How many of y'all think that Donald Trump is concerned about declining Black wealth? How many of y'all really believe? And if you believe these things, I feel sorry for you because and I think that what triggered DL in the comment was probably I think I made a comment about Biden's crime bill. Y'all know what that son of a bitch did. Y'all know what he did. I got homies still locked up 20, 30 years later from the 3 strikes law, from stuff that Biden did a long time ago. Some of y'all got relatives that went to prison under those crime bill laws. Come on now. And I just don't understand. Again, I'm not telling you shouldn't vote for Biden. I get it. I know. Well, what about Trump and what about the Republicans? That's all people have. That's all you got. You ain't got nothing else. You can't tell me how great he is. All you can tell me is that he's not as bad as Donald Trump. And then, the Trump supporters will say the same thing. And I get it. That's fine. I'm not making fun of you. I told you, I believe you should vote for whoever you want to. Give me a yes if you understand this. Let me know you understand that I'm not telling you who to vote for. I'm not telling you to vote or not to vote. I'm telling you to be free. I'm telling you to do the same thing that these sons of bitches are doing. And what these people are doing is they are not distracted from their own lives to go and fight a battle on your behalf. Donald Trump ain't taking time from his private jets and his women and his money to come over here and fight a battle because you told him to fight the battle, but you taking time away from your issues to go fight for him. That don't make no sense. That's a self-esteem problem that you have in your community. So here's the deal. Look, I'm gonna tell you the truth. Look, I thought DL's comment was intriguing. I was sort of looking at it like, wow, this is interesting. You're really upset with me right now. Remember, though, I'm married to a therapist. And when you're married to a therapist, you kind of learn that sometimes when people say something's about you, it ain't really about you. You know what I'm talking about? Like sometimes when somebody comes to you and they want to cuss you out over baked beans and fried chicken, it ain't really about the baked beans. It ain't about the fried chicken, and it ain't about me. It's really about you and what kind of day you're having. So I'm going to speculate. I'm going to go and just say that it sounds like DL's having a bad day because he is a celebrity that is far more important than me. Again, white people will never put me on TV the way they put him on TV, and so I'm sure he's got plenty of money and all those other things to worry about other than what Boyce said on his page. But then what was interesting too, and I want to just be complete with this to understand what I'm seeing and my perspective on this. And I don't know. I feel like this is an important point to make. So I get this other message, and after Terrain mentions it to me that DL had these issues with me, I was like, oh. Okay, and then I go in. In Twitter, they have that little section where people message you, but they're not you've never gotten a message from them, so they put it in the section where the message requests. It says people you may know. I look at that like once every month or something, and I went through that and I saw another message from DL, and again another one that kind of shocked me. I was like, wow, he's really mad. He says, I can't fucking stand you. Don't ever hit me again, pussy. And so I just, so first of all, I might be a lot of things, but a pussy is not one of them. I'm not a vagina. My wife has a vagina, and I like it. It's a great one. But I'm not a pussy, and so I just came back and told him the truth. I was raised by a real man named Larry Watkins, a Vietnam veteran who's killed people. So don't let the PhD fool you because I've never been a punk. So what I just politely said to DL, not so politely, as I said, you're doing all this corny shit over Joe Biden. Please let go of his nuts. And the point of the matter is to say that you, unfortunately, I don't know what's going on. I don't know who is lying. I don't know if somebody's lying in your pockets. I don't know if somebody is hooking you up. I don't know if they're making you do this, but there are lots of people in the Black community who feel like you look silly. You know, when you use the word clown, he used the word clown, and the behavior, again, I get it. A celebrity endorsement is very common. It's very common for a celebrity and entirely appropriate for a celebrity to say, this is the candidate I endorse. There's lots of celebrities who do it. The Rock does it. You know, I'm sure Will Smith and people like that do it. That's fine. But you're not endorsing Biden. You are behaving like a paid employee. You are going beyond just saying, hey, that's my guy. I hope he wins. You're going into like, I will fight a Negro because he does not love the same white man that I love. And I don't understand it. Where I come from, that's what you might call jocking, or you swinging from his. What is it about this decrepit old man that makes you think that he is worth you fighting other Black people over? That's a plantation fight. That is a plantation fight. This goes back to slavery, and that's what I don't get. I don't blame anybody in here if you vote for Biden or vote for Trump. That's what you believe. Like, some of you are liberal, right? And I get it. If you're liberal, if you are a LGBT, a feminist, or just left wing, then Project 2025 should probably bother you, because a lot of the policies in Project 2025 are very anti-immigrant, anti-LGBT, anti-feminism, all that stuff, right? I get all that. I understand all that. Fine. Okay. And if you are conservative, though, if you are like people in my own family who take the Bible literally, who believe that abortion is not a good thing, or who believe that we shouldn't be constantly focused on a child's sexuality, or who believe that America needs more family values, then you're going to be a right winger. You're going to be a Republican, and that's okay. I think that's okay. I don't understand why it's become a crime for a Black person to become a Republican. It's silly, So I get all that, but the thing is that sometimes y'all take it too far. I think like the rapper Plies is really crazy. I see Plies, who again, another unqualified. He's not qualified. He's qualified to rap. He's not a political scientist. You know, again, I would never try to become a professional rapper. I tried to make a rap song once and it was terrible. I would never try to be a professional comedian. I think that if I went on stage and tried to make white people laugh like DL does so well, I wouldn't be able to do a very good job. I probably couldn't even get Black people to laugh. But for some reason, we think celebrities are qualified to do everything. Even Charlamagne the God, another guy that I respect. I think Charlamagne's smart. When I was on the Wendy show, I remember Charlamagne, he asked for a copy of my book. It was a book called What If George Bush Were a Black Man? And to my surprise, when I came back, Charlamagne had read the whole book. And that impressed me. I said, okay, this is a smart guy. He really wants to learn. But I see Charlamagne doing a lot of political commentary. And this is one of the reasons, if you ever want to know why progress doesn't get made for Black people when it comes to politics, is because you have the wrong representatives. Other communities, they put their thinkers at the front of the pile on important social issues. If they have a medical issue, they'll put doctors at the front of the pile. If they have a legal issue, they'll get their best attorneys to address the topic. If they have an economic issue, they'll get their best economists on the board. But for us, it's like, okay, we're going to get the basketball player to talk about Black economics. We're going to get the rapper who's going to break down Black politics. And we're going to get the comedian to come over here and he's going to tell us what we need in terms of Black health. And that is ridiculous. That is a joke. So when you talk about, so in that first comment DL made to me, he made a comment about me being a clown. And I said, yeah, but you know what? We're all clowns in this political game. At the end of the day, we all get clowned. We all get clowned because they clown you in your face. They clown you in your face because they don't actually bring people to the table who can actually solve the problem. Think about this. You've got people like Dr. Claude Anderson, one of the greatest economic thinkers in the history of this earth, who lives right down the street from the White House, who's never been invited to talk about economic issues in the Black community. But yet they'll bring Al Sharpton in his perm. They have Al Sharpton at the White House 200 times, 300 times. So this is the point of the matter is to say that not only are they not willing to help solve problems in the Black community, but when they pretend to solve the problems, they're literally doing it in the wrong way. And then they look around and they say, well, black people, they don't have an agenda. They don't want anything. And that's because the people who actually know what the agenda is are the ones who get ignored. The best entertainer who's ever tried to do this, who's used his power in an amazing way, is Ice Cube. Ice Cube, if you recall, had what he did was he reached out to scholars in different areas. He reached out to activists. He reached out to economists. He reached out to attorneys. He reached out to all kinds of intelligent black people that white folks love to ignore. They don't like to pay attention to the intelligent people. They want to talk to the comedians and the rappers and the athletes. But Ice Cube did not do that. Ice Cube reached out to scholars, and I didn't even know this. When I heard he had a contract with Black America, I didn't know what that was. I said, okay, is this some old BS? Let me go take a look. And I read who he was referencing and how it was written, and I said, okay, so he really did the work right with this. I love this. And what happened when Ice Cube? Do y'all remember? How many of y'all give me a yes if you remember how badly Ice Cube was treated when he brought that contract of Black America forward? Do y'all remember? What did they do? They started calling him a Trump supporter, even though he made it clear that he was not voting for Trump. He made it clear. He said, I'm here to talk to both sides because I want the best deal for the Black community. And they made it into, you're just a Trumper because you're not supporting Biden blindly the way the rest of us do. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that? That's that propaganda. That's what they do. And I remember being furious and offended by that. I talked to Cube a lot when he was working on that. I mean, I said, I'm really proud of you for using your platform in such an extraordinary way. I wish every rapper, every entertainer would do the same thing. And they literally tried to destroy this man. Why did they do that? Ask yourself, why did they do that? Well, they did it because they're like, wait, we own the Negroes. Those are our votes. They did like Goldie the Pimp did in the Mac. It's like, your bitch chose me. They literally said that, no, black people belong to us. How dare you make them believe that they have a choice? How dare you make them believe that they have a voice? How dare you make them ask for things? That's why they got mad at him. And I want you to understand it. I had a front row seat to that. I saw that. I talked to Q right before he went on CNN, and then I talked to him right after he got off of CNN. And then when he got a call from leading Democrats who said, we're very happy behind the scenes. I said, we're very happy that you're doing this because these people are controlling the Black community. They won't let us do anything inside the party because they're thinking, why should we do anything for Black people? Because they don't ask for nothing. Because since slavery, we have been trained to do the master's work for him. Since slavery, we have been trained to have some of the harshest overseers imaginable. Since slavery, we've been trained to have people who say, Master, you ain't got to go beat them. I'm going to go beat them for you, Master. And this is what I see when I see any Black person who beats up on another Black person because they didn't vote for who you told them to vote for. What in the world is it? What deal do you have with that crusty old white man, Trump or Biden, whoever you got, that makes you feel like you can go and attack a loved one, like your own damn relative, because they're not doing what you do? Maybe your mama wants to vote for Trump because she doesn't believe in a lot of the ideals being pushed in the Democratic Party about trans this, LGBT that, the feminism. Maybe that's not her thing. Maybe your mama is a old-fashioned Southern church-going woman who says, no, I believe in the Bible and I believe in family and I don't believe in all this trans this and trans that. That's okay. That's her right. So do you understand what I'm saying? I hope y'all get what I'm saying. I'm only talking to the intelligent people in the room. If you just, if people are just going to make it into something stupid, I don't know how to talk to you. Make it into what you want. But I'm really sort of helping. I hope I'm helping you understand and see what I see here. This is stupid. This is silly. I'm gonna just tell you like this. I respect DL as a comedian. I do. And at the end of the day, I am never going to fight another Black man because you think your massa is better than my massa. I don't got no massa. I'm not looking for a better pimp. I'm not looking to. There is no evidence. You can't show me any evidence anywhere to say that the Black community has improved significantly because they voted for a Republican or a Democrat. Give me one example where black wealth went up, where our ranking in wealth every single year, we are dead last in wealth. Every single year for the last 50 years, we've been dead last, dead last, dead last, behind the Asians, behind the Jews, behind the whites, behind even people from other countries. We've been dead last, dead last, dead last, dead last every single fucking time. And somehow you think that me doing what you doing is gonna make a difference. It ain't gonna make no damn difference. You show me one time where voting for a Democrat or a Republican changed our ranking when it came to wealth. You point out, I'll wait. Show me one damn time. But yet every 4 years I got to hear, vote blue no matter who. They gonna come get us, y'all. Vote or die, y'all. Booties to the polls, y'all. I don't want to hear all that. You can do what you want to do. I'm not judging you. But I'm just not participating in that. It's a waste of energy. Now, before I move on, if you could do me a favor, please hit the thumbs up button. Thumbs up, share, subscribe. My name is Dr. Boyce Watkins. You're watching drboycetv.com, the home for intelligent Black people. And speaking of solutions, I do have a book out called The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. My PhD's in finance. And in this book, I basically break down 10 simple rules that if any family follows these rules, they will have wealth that will last for several generations. It's very easy. You just have to pivot. So if you'd like to get a copy of the book, feel free to go to drboycebooks.com. That's drboycebooks.com. Also, in the Black Business School, we have 156,000 students worldwide. Most of them pay less than $500 a year, and we train them on cutting edge techniques in economics and things like that. My wife, who is a licensed therapist and a full professor of social work, Dr. Alicia Watkins, helped me to create the first ever Black financial therapy department, where we realized that Black wealth is more of an issue of unresolved, untreated, undiagnosed trauma, and that there are lots of psychological barriers to building your wealth. And this is one thing that we take seriously, and she is a leading scholar in her field, and that's what we work on. So if you'd like to take a look at some of the work that my wife has done on financial trauma, financial anxiety, things like that, if that can help you, feel free to go to drboycebooks.com. Her books are there as well. Here's one of the things I want to kind of drill into. I was just talking to a great Black man by the name of George C. Fraser. Now, how many of y'all know who Dr. George Fraser is? If you don't know who he is, I'm going to tell you who he is. He's going to join us in the Black Business School, and I've been supporting him as well. He has the Power Networking Conference, and he asked me to be one of the faculty in his institution. And I told him yes, and I asked him to join us in the Black Business School. Anyway, so Dr. Fraser and I were talking about Black wealth. And one of the things that he mentioned that you really want to think about is that part of the reason that Black wealth doesn't grow in the Black community is because you've lost your focus on family. I just talked to Dr. Fraser. He called me in Amsterdam. We literally talked about 15 minutes ago, or 15 minutes before I started this podcast episode. And during that conversation, which probably lasted about 45 minutes to an hour, he spent quite a bit of time breaking down the fact that that one of the most sinister things that they've done, one of the most diabolical, horrific things that they've done to you over the last 40 years is that they've destroyed your families. That most Black people, given the large percentage of Black people never get married or can't stay married, and families can't stay together, basically it makes it nearly impossible for you to build wealth. He made an accurate point, which I agree with 100%, that there's no group of people in the history of this earth that have ever been able to get ahead financially without family. Family is critical to wealth. So when you break down families in the community, you get them dependent on the government. You lose the Black man in your household. And instead of having a man in the house, you got Joe Biden replacing the daddy. And you got kids out here that are feminine. You got a bunch of feminine ass men who never learned how to be men because they didn't have a father. You have little girls who don't know nothing about what it means to make a man happy, who are taught from birth to not depend on a man. So you just have a kind of a shit show, honestly, when it comes to your families. And so what I would say to you is that if you care about Black wealth, then you will also care about Black family. You have to solve the family problem because economics is a team sport. So that's one of the things that we talked about. So if you want to know what I'm doing when I'm not sitting around worried about Trump or Biden, I'm thinking about things like Black family. I'm thinking about things like Black mental and physical health. I'm thinking about all the experts we have in our community who can help us solve these problems if we stop paying attention to just what the entertainers say. I'm not saying that every entertainer is stupid. Clearly, people like D.L. Hughley are smart. He's brilliant at what he does. I think he's great at what he does. I think that when it comes to politics, though, I think that there are people that study this for a living. There are people who have doctorates in this area, and I'd like to hear from them too. And I really think as a community, we have to get past that point where we think that entertainers have all the answers. They sometimes they don't have any answers. And then also on top of that, I really wanted to ask DL, I said, What is it about the Democrats that takes you from being a person, a casual observer who offers a simple endorsement, to becoming a complete cheerleader, to really taking that role of feeling like you must actively advocate and even intimidate other people who don't agree with your ideology? There's absolutely no reason for you to come at me with that kind of energy. Calling me, what was it, a dickhead, and I never liked you, and clown, and all these other crazy things that you said. I'm sitting there thinking that type of energy for over politics, over Democrat Republican nonsense, that's as ridiculous as when you had gang members killing each other over blocks that they did not own. Literally, when you are trying to kill your cousin over a block well, you don't own no property on that block, that's weirdo behavior. That's plantation behavior. And so while everybody has a right to vote for who they want to, I just really hope that you'll let go of the Civil War, because that's the goal. The goal is to make sure that you are so busy fighting each other that you're not busy fighting this stupid ass system that they have. The energy that you spend getting mad at another black person because they don't vote for the same politician that you do is energy that could also be spent saying, why in the hell is it that we only got two options anyway? Why is it that that the two guys that are running are two people that nobody would even really pick in their right mind? These are not the best candidates for this important position. This is almost like a waste of time. These are plantation fights, and this is something that is deliberately done by colonizers to keep you distracted. I really believe that. I think that here's the deal with the Democrats. What's crazy about the Democrats to me is that the Democratic Party is the only political party, and Malcolm X alluded to this, so I'm not the first one. Go back and listen to what Malcolm X said about the Democrats. I want y'all to go pay attention to that. The Democrats are fascinating because that's the only party I've ever seen where they feel so entitled. White entitlement is real. They feel so entitled to your vote that literally when you say, I'm not going to vote for you, they literally will say, oh, well, you must be a Republican. And then you're like, but I didn't say I was a Republican. I just said I'm not going to vote for you. Well, you're just a Trump supporter. And that's really where, and that goes back to, y'all remember when Charlemagne interviewed Joe Biden and he said, well, if you don't vote for me, then you ain't black. That's territorialism. That's colonialism. That's when you've been colonized. That's them saying, like, this is mine. I own this. Right. And so it's because think about this. This is crazy. Like, I just really cannot imagine any situation where you would say something like that without feeling entitled to something. I'm like, who in the hell told you that I owe you anything? Because I can't walk up in your house, Joe Biden, and say, well, if you don't give me your money, then you're not doing your job, or if you don't give me your money, then you're not an American. I mean, that's weird. That would be a weird thing to say. So I just want you to think about the language. Nobody else says that. The Republicans don't say. They don't say, well, if you don't vote for us, then you're voting for the Democrat. They don't say that to black people because they're not used to getting as many black votes. So sometimes people feel entitled to something. They feel that they own it, like a boyfriend feels. So some boyfriends might feel they own their woman. And I just want you to know, nobody owns your vote. That would be a form of voter suppression or voter intimidation. So all these things that we accuse the racist of doing, we accuse the Klansmen of voter suppression, we accuse the racist of voter intimidation. That's what that is. When somebody's telling you, when somebody's harassing you over your fundamental right as an American to vote for whoever the hell you want, that is highly inappropriate and unacceptable, and you should not allow it. So when people accuse me of telling black people not to vote, I say, no, I'm not telling black people not to vote, because I would never do what you're doing. I don't do what you do. All I tell black people to do is to do what white folks do. Do what's best for yourself. Do what Trump does. Do what's best for yourself. Do what Biden does. Do what's best for yourself. Because at the end of the day, ain't none of these people going to save you. Ain't none of these people going to get you out the mess that you in, except for you. But that's the good news, though. The good news is that if you make certain decisions with your life, if you focus on things like strong families, if you focus on things like mental and physical health and healing from your undiagnosed, untreated trauma, if you focus on things like creating financial security and streams of income for yourself and generational wealth legacies for your family, you're going to do well, whether there's a Democrat in office or a Republican. Tell me if I'm lying. Any black person who saves it, tell me, give me a yes if you agree with this. Let's agree on this point. Because I'm into solutions. I'm a mathematician. I don't cry about a problem. I don't want to just talk about a problem or theorize about the problem. I want to solve it. In mathematics, you only get credit for solving the problem. You couldn't look at a math problem and get points for whining about the problem or saying that it's the Republicans' fault. You couldn't do that. So you actually had to solve the problem. So give me a guess if you agree on this very basic idea. It's my ideas are not complex. The very simple idea is this. Give me a guess. Do you think if there's a Republican or Democratic president, that a black person who works on their physical and mental health, eats healthy food, for example, heals from their trauma, is going to do better under any administration than a person who does not do that? Give me a yes if you agree that under Republican or Democratic administrations, a black person who works on having healthy relationships with the people they love, building a strong, solid family structure, loving that black woman or that black man next to them, taking care of those babies. Do you think that person is going to do better than somebody who neglects these things? Give me a yes if you agree that under a Republican or Democratic administration, that a black person who saves their money, invests their money, builds a business, and works hard to build wealth is going to do well under any administration. Give me a yes or no. What do you think? So to me, here's the deal. Here's what I'm saying. All this energy that you spend fighting over Trump or Biden, take that energy and fight for yourself. Instead of fighting for Biden, I need you to fight as hard for yourself as you're fighting for this man who literally passed a crime bill 30 years ago that probably sent your cousin to prison. Fight as hard for yourself as you'll fight for Biden, the man who passed a student loan bill, who created the student loan debt crisis that he's getting credit for solving. He created the crisis because there was a bill, I forgot what it was called, but it was like the Bankruptcy Fraud Prevention Act or something like that, which basically said that if you get student loans, you can't declare bankruptcy. That's why people have student loan crisis. That's why the student loan crisis exists, because he helped pass that bill. I'm not saying that he's the worst guy in the world. I'm just stating facts. So it's crazy to me that he's getting credit for solving a problem that he created. He put the roaches in your house, and you're paying him to be the exterminator. But you got to go find out who put the roaches in the damn house in the first place. Elizabeth Warren was one of the people who called it out in 05, 06 or something like that. She said, if this bill gets passed, Mr. Biden, this is going to cause a student loan debt crisis unlike anything we've ever seen in the history of this country. They did it anyway. Why? Well, because all the politicians work for the banks and the businesses and the billionaires. That's what they do. I'm a finance guy. I can confirm they working for the money. The same thing. I want you, the Republicans in the room. I want you, I get it. If Trump is your guy, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. I understand that. I support you in your right to express that. But I really want you to really fight as hard for yourself as you do for that billionaire in New York who don't give a damn about poor people. I have studied Donald Trump since the 80s. This man is a narcissist. Is he a racist? Sometimes. It depends if he agrees with you or not. If he likes you, then no, he could be the coolest guy in the world. But if he don't like you, he's going to be a prick. He's the womanizer. Grab him by the pussy. Yeah, he doesn't. All of that. You can still vote for him. But here's the thing. I just really want you to understand what I don't understand about all the millions of people that love Trump and will just fight and die for him. And I get it because they're all inspired by what happened in that shooting attempt, which I do think is real. I'm not here to talk about that. What's fascinating to me about people's love for Donald Trump is that Donald Trump has a clear track record of showing that he has no concern for those people. It doesn't mean he doesn't care about America in his own way. Both Biden and Trump, in my view, have their own version of patriotism. Both of them have their own view of what it means to be a patriotic American. And in some cases, both of their views were revealed in a way that could be defined as offensive to Black Americans. So for Trump, his offensive revelation of his own patriotism was during the Central Park Five situation. Y'all remember that, where the Central Park Five were falsely accused of raping that white lady, and basically Trump was, really going out of his way to try to get those guys sent to jail, right? And it turned out that he was wrong. And in his mind, he thought he was doing the right thing because he wanted to protect this poor little lady who got raped in the Central Park and all that, right? So with Biden, if you look at the passion, if you go back and watch those videos of Biden talking about the crime bill, I don't know if he was really trying to be the racist that he was being in that moment. He was definitely being racist in the sense that he implemented policies that really led to a mass extermination of black families all across this country. This is what systematic racism looks like. Systematic racism is a system. It's not somebody, not liking you because you're black. That's not systematic racism. It's not the white lady in the grocery store, looking at you funny. No, systematic racism is when there is a systematic broad set of policies that affect millions of people that define America along racial lines. America has a long history of systematic racism. So if you go back and you look at what Biden did in his extermination plan, he didn't really say, I want to get rid of all black people. Just like Trump, he didn't hate every black person. He just didn't like certain black people from the inner cities. When he would use coded language, he would say these people, they come from the single mother households and they're beyond the pale, and we got to eliminate them from society. Like he said things like that were definitely he made statements that were lacking of the kind of empathy that would come from somebody who truly cared about black people. He didn't care. It's not, and I don't even know if it's his job to care per se, but he didn't care. And so for black people who really feel like he does care, I'm just sitting there asking you, like, where's your evidence? Because when they did that, when he passed that law wiped out entire communities. That wiped out generations of black families. That was genocide. That was genocidal. That's why to this day, 76% of black children don't have a father in the house, because you had a whole generation of black men being incarcerated for very long periods of time. And here's the reality. He wouldn't have done that if they had been white. Remember, the lack of empathy that Biden had for people who were caught possessing small amounts of crack was far lower than the empathy he has for his own son, who's been a crackhead for only God knows how long. Hunter Biden smoked up all the crack. If Hunter Biden was a black man, the old Joe Biden from the 90s would have wanted him to go to prison for the next 30 or 40 years. But because God has a way of creating irony in your life, his son, who's now dealing with a drug addiction, is getting a lot more empathy from him, because he can relate to him. He understands him. He says, that's my son. That's my boy. He's went through some things. And if you know the history, I've studied the history of Biden and Trump, and I can tell you, Biden's family's been through a lot. A lot of y'all may not know this. I don't know how many of y'all knew this. That Biden's, when he was 29 years old, his wife and 2 children, I believe, were killed in a car crash. And, that's terrible. I mean, so his wife and 2 kids were killed in a car crash. Richard Nixon gave him a phone call when that happened, and he was really young at the time. And then also his son, his other son, not the one that was on crack, Bo Biden, I think his name was Bo, the one that would have been a great president if you were a Democrat. He would have been a great follow-up to his father. He would have continued the legacy. His son died, I think, from brain cancer after serving in the military. And again, thank you for your service to everybody who's been in the military. So he has a family that has been through a lot. And I suspect that this might be part of the reason that that Hunter is hitting the pipe. I don't know. I'll be hitting the pipe too if I went through that kind of crazy stuff, So I have empathy for this family. But the interesting thing about it, though, is I don't think this family has empathy for me. Because you got to understand, I'm a black man who can say that my father and my stepfather both were hooked on drugs. And I know for a fact, my biological father did time in prison for drugs. And I would be willing to bet you that the amount of empathy that Joe Biden has for Hunter would not have been shared with my father. You understand? Or your father. And this is the reality. This is what you're looking at when you talk about these politicians. And so when you come to me and you try to present Biden or Trump as some sort of hero that's going to save America and save the black community and be worth our time, I just look at you funny and say, what makes you think that this is really going to matter at the end of the day? What makes you think that this matters more than the price of tea in China? Why are you fighting me because you don't think I'm gonna go and vote for the same white man that you're gonna vote for? You pick your white man, I'll pick mine. That's all we got on the menu. So why in the hell are you even bothering me about this nonsense when we got work to do? This is what I want you to. It's a subtle point. A lot of people are gonna miss this subtle point, but I hope you're getting it. The subtle point that I'm making on this is that when I get this furious message from DL, what I saw was just kind of like this lack of self-esteem. That's what I saw. I see a lack of self-esteem in the sense that, DL, you are a smart guy. I mean, as far as comedians go, I think you're a brilliant comedian. I don't think you're the most qualified when it comes to political analysis. I think that the emotions are a little bit too much. I think you could issue a simple endorsement and then go on about your business. But for whatever reason, you're heavily invested in this political thing. But that's not uncommon because y'all know how a lot of Hollywood celebrities want to come and tell us who to vote for, which I think is absolute bullshit. But at the same time, I think that the self-esteem issue comes out in the sense that rather than fighting with another black man or other black people over who their favorite white politician is going to be, you could actually be building with those very same people and say, let's develop institutions that are going to help our community prosper. Let's get past this Democrat Republican bullshit and sit down as men and as women and figure out how we're going to move forward in a way that's going to lead to some sort of self-determination and lead to some sort of positive outcome that's actually going to show real tangible benefits. Because I can tell you at the end of the day, I hope y'all don't think that Donald Trump's going to be writing a check for reparations. I hope y'all don't think that Joe Biden is going to deal with reparations. They're going to do exactly what they've always been doing. And so this will be my issue with the DL thing, and I'm sure DL ain't gonna be happy if he hears any of this. And I get it. I'd be pissed off at me too. I ain't gonna lie. I'm not a perfect man. I'm a man where sometimes I'll get a little annoyed when you're talking crazy to me and stuff like that. I'm not above all of that, but at the same time, I try to get above it. But it's hard. Sometimes it's hard when somebody calls you a dickhead. It ain't fun to respond to that. I'm not that mature. Maybe my wife is, but I'm not. She's the therapist. I'm not. I'm the one who needs the therapist. My wife is the therapist. But the point I'll say is that at the end of the day, I think all this political jockeying, all this fighting over Biden versus Trump, it's making DL look ridiculous. It's alienating people. It's silly. It's goofy. It's not going to make a difference in the world. But somehow they got y'all convinced that somehow that Project 2025 is going to be worse than all the other shit that they've been trying to do to black people for the last 400 years. Y'all survived the fucking Middle Passage. Stop it. My ancestors survived 250 years of the most brutal slavery known to man. I'm sure they can survive 4 years of Donald Trump. They already did. We survived 120 years of Jim Crow. We survived the war on drugs. We survived Biden mass incarceration. And you're going to tell me that I can't survive Project 2025, which ain't even been implemented. Stop trying to scare me. Stop trying to get my vote by scaring me. I need you to inspire me. I need you to help me see a vision that is greater than me simply visualizing the fact that I'm not going to die if I do what you tell me to do. I'm tired of playing survivornomics. I want to play powernomics. You playing strugglenomics. I want to win. You up here telling me how I can avoid losing, how I can avoid the bottom. I want to go to the top. I want our children to fly. I want our children to elevate. I want them to elevate economically. I want them to elevate educationally. I want them to elevate in terms of family and choices and mental and physical health. I want elevation. And you got me bottom dwelling on this fear vibration. I don't want to vibrate on the fear frequency. That's level 1. And they playing with you. They on level 12 laughing at you. So don't come to me with no fear because I don't scare easily. Come to me with something that's going to inspire me to help us see our full potential. Because I can tell you like this. I don't care who's in the White House. Every single person in this room who embraces various forms of Black excellence is going to be successful. Every one of you. And I applaud you if you're already doing it. Every one of you who is raising strong, empowered children, you're going to win. Everybody in here who's working on their healing and breaking generational curses, you're going to win. Everybody who's building strong families and making good choices, you're going to win. Everybody who's investing and saving their money and building wealth and building businesses, you're going to win. If you are making good moves in your life, you are going to win. The people that are going to lose are the ones who are operating on the fear frequency. The ones who are going to lose are the ones who are not prepared for the future. The ones who are going to lose are the ones who are simply so focused on Biden and Trump that they ain't even focused on their own damn kids. They're not focused on anything that's going to improve their own lives. They're somehow thinking magically that Superman's going to come save us. I just think that that's so degrading, and it's so short of who God intended for us to be. That's all I got to say. I don't have anything else to say about this. And I'm sure that some things I've said might offend you. And if that's a problem, I apologize. But I don't take anything back. I said it because I mean it. And as this election happens, it's going to be interesting. I'm going to talk about it, right? I'm going to talk about what's happening. But I talk about the elections the same way I talk about the Dallas Cowboys possibly winning the Super Bowl. It's real interesting to me, but I know that whether they win or whether they lose, Jerry Jones ain't sending me no damn paycheck. There's nothing that's going to change in my life if the Dallas Cowboys suddenly decide to get past the first round of the playoffs. So what I want you to understand is the difference between entertainment and real life. Entertainment is okay, but you got to keep it in its place. You cannot assume that a Biden or a Trump presidency is going to destroy or save the Black community. We can survive anything. I want to say thank you very much for listening to me. I appreciate it. If you want to join us, we have every single morning when we are doing something about the economic front. This is something that's totally free. Every morning we do Money in the Morning economic elevation training. If you want to elevate economically, you can just text the word morning to 87948. We're going to meet tomorrow morning, and I will send you all a text to invite you into a private Zoom where we spend at least 45 minutes every morning, 7 days a week, talking about economics. It's completely free. And so if you want to join us, feel free to do that. Also, we do have what we call the Freedom Challenge, where I have about 30 lectures that I put together on various forms of economic elevation. So if you want to get that sent to you, you can text the word freedom to the number 87948. So if you text morning to 87948, you'll get an invitation to the free daily class. So you can write that down. But then another word, if you text freedom to 87948, you can do both. It's fine to do both. You'll get 30 straight days of economic trainings that'll be sent to you via text. So if you want to know who I'm voting for in the next election, I'm like Dr. Claude Anderson. I talked to him just the other day, and I said, how do you feel about this election? He said, I don't give a damn. He said, it ain't got nothing to do with Black folks. And he said, I'm voting for black people. I'm thinking about the Black community. And I said, I'm the same way. So if you want to know what I'm doing in this election, I'm going to be working on me and us and ours. And I'm not really sitting around wondering what massa going to do, because I ain't got no massa. So anyway, guys, I'm out of here. I hope you have a great day. Hit the thumbs up button, thumbs up, share, subscribe. My website is boycewatkins.com. And feel free to take a look. And also my book, The 10 Commandments of Black Economic Power. You can find a copy at drboycebooks.com. So feel free to go there as well. Have a good day, everybody. God bless you. I will see you all very, very soon. Take care now. Peace.
Here we are, clan the isms, cataclysm great. Our people out here struggling, trying to make it in this state. Everybody out here doing it, but we the ones who late. Now family, we the ones who gotta delegate. Get that money in the power, never be fake. Stick to cosign for 3. What did he say? Create jobs, support our own. Educate the same and buy back your home. Got 3 degrees, triple 10. 3 PhDs, now we on the CNN. DBTV, let's talk about negligence. Ignorance is blissful, we can turn it to intelligence. Believe none of what you hear, half of what you see. Let's break it down here on Dr. Boyce TV. Here we are.